So good morning everyone. I am May Contat Palomar.
I am Rosly Palomar.
And for today's video, our topic is all about constructivism as a tool in social studies and project-based learning in social studies.
The objectives: students should be able to describe what is constructivism and project-based learning in social studies. And you should be able to explain the constructivist approach, the learning models, and the essential project design elements.
Constructivism is a new approach which can be successfully utilized for attaining the mentioned goals. Today, I will present the constructivist approach for social studies teaching, and I will also present and discuss the major constructivist learning models that can be revitalized in the social studies classroom. So what is constructivism? The verb to construct is derived from the Latin word constructur, which means to arrange or to give structure, ongoing structuring or organizing. The process are the conceptual heart of constructivism. Constructivist epistemology assumes that the learners construct their own knowledge on the basis of interaction with their environment. Constructivism focuses on knowledge construction and not on knowledge transmission. It is basically a theory based on observation and scientific study about how people learn. It says people construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through expressing things and reflecting on those experiences. So when we are encountered with something new, we have to relate it with our previous experiences, either change our ideas or discard the new information. The process we tend to create new knowledge by asking questions, explaining and assessing what we already know. So next is the teaching of social studies and constructivist approach. So social science and social studies are two terms that are generally used identically, but there is a difference between these two subjects. So social science is a subject which studies the individual or groups of individuals in terms of social relations. And on the other hand, social studies is an integrated study of the social science and humanities to promote civic competence of the primary purpose of social studies. This is to help young people make informed and reasoned decisions for the public good as citizens of culturally diverse, democratic society in an independent world. So it includes subjects like history, geography, economics, political, science, sociology, law, philosophy, archaeology, anthropology, and psychology, or etc. So the National Curriculum Framework of 2005 in relation to the teaching of social studies stated that the social science teaching needs to be revitalized towards helping the learners acquire knowledge and skills in an interactive environment. So the teaching of social science must adopt methods that promote creativity, aesthetics, and critical perspectives, and enable children to draw relationships between past and present. So to understand changes taking place in society, in order to make the process of learning participative, there is a need to shift from more imparting of information to debate and discussion. So constructivist approach in this regards can prove very worthwhile as it creates a healthy environment in which learners actively participate in the process of knowledge, construction, and meaning making. This approach engages students in collaborative learning, promotes high-order thinking skills, and relates social studies concepts to their lives and experiences of students by using various techniques like problem solving, brainstorming, debate, discussion, and role, and etc. It makes a social studies classroom fun, interesting, and a vibrant learning place. So there are many constructivist learning models which can be used for teaching of social studies. But two major learning models can really revitalize the social studies classroom are as follows. First is the interpretation construction or ICON and the design model 5E's learning cycle. So first is the interpretation construction design model. Black and McClintock of 1995 have created a model based on the principles of constructivism which has the following 7 steps. These are the observation, contextualization, cognitive, apprenticeship, collaboration, interpretation, construction, multiple interpretations, and multiple manifestation. So first is the observation. This is where the students makes observation of authentic artifacts anchored in authentic situations. Second, contextualization. Students access background and conceptual materials of various sorts to interpretation and argumentation. The third is the cognitive apprenticeship. Here, the student serves as apprentice to the teachers to master observation, interpretation, and contextualization. The next one is the collaboration. The students collaborate in observation, interpretation, and contextualization. Another one is the interpretation construction. Students construct interpretations of observations and constructs arguments for validity of their interpretations. The next one is the multi-interpretation. Here, the students gain cognitive flexibility by being exposed to multiple interpretations. And the last one is the multiple manifestation. The students gain transferability by seeing multiple manifestations of the same interpretations. So I have here an examples of learning situations that shows the 7 steps of the principles of constructivism. First, present the students with a graphic simulation of an archaeological site. Then the students study the history of the site through simulated digging of artifacts, making various measurements of the artifacts in simulated laboratory. That shows observation. And when I say relating objects with objects of what is already known using a wide variety of reference materials, that's the constructualization. Another is, if the students work cooperatively in a group, that's now the collaboration. And while the teacher models how to deal with such a site, then fades her involvement while coaching and supporting the students in their own study and efforts, this shows the cognitive apprenticeship. Then the students now develop the ownership of their work by developing their own interpretations of the history of the site and mastering various kinds of the evidence of their conclusions. So this phrase shows the interpretation construction. Another one is by arguing with the other students and studying related interpretations in the historical literature, they get a sense of other perspectives. So this shows multiple interpretations. So lastly, by going through the process of a number of times bringing each conceptual background to bear on a number of different artifacts, the students learn and understand the many of ways and the general principles behind what they are doing become manifest. And this one shows multiple manifestations. So the another learning model is the 5 is model. So the term of Biological Science Curriculum Study, or BSCS, whose principal investigator was Roger Brady, developed the instructional model for constructivism in 1997. This model is known as 5Es. Though it was designed primarily for science teaching, it has a great utility for social studies teaching too. So this model has 5 phases: the engagement, exploration, explanation, elaboration, and evaluation. So the first is engagement. It is the first step of learning which engages students in classroom activities. In this phase, firstly, the instruction task is identified and encountered by learners. Students also make connections between the prior and the present learning experiences. So here, the teacher tries to generate interest and curiosity of students by many ways, like asking a question, defining problems, showing a discrepant event, and acting out problematic situation. So during this phase, students generally ask this type of questions. Why did this happen? What do I really know about this? And what can I find out about this? So the second one is exploration. In the exploration phase, the students get the opportunity to be directly involved with the materials and phenomenon without the teacher's direct instruction. In this phase, they construct a base of common experiences which helps them to the process of sharing and communicating. So here, the teachers plays the role of facilitator who provides material and guides the students' focus. So basically, it is a stage of this equilibrium of students are embroiled in a complex problems. So in this phase, the students test their predictions and hypotheses. From new predictions and hypotheses, try alternatives and communicate with other record with ideas and observations and suspend their decisions. The third one is explanation. It is the stage where students start to have abstract experiences. Here, students are provided with opportunities to demonstrate their conceptual understanding, process skills, or behavior. In this phase, the teacher stimulates the learner's process of thinking. To do this, he or she encourages them to explain the definitions and concepts in their own words to give justification of their explanation and the present evidence and to listen critically to each other's explanation. In addition, for explaining the concepts, the teacher provides and clarifies definition, explanation, and new labels. Thus, it is the stage where the teacher tries to assess their growing understanding by using variety of techniques like verbal communication, drawing, writing, videos, films, and educational courseware. So the next one is elaboration. Phase of elaboration facilitates the process of transfer of learning. So here, the students extend the learned concept to new but similar situations. Here, the teacher helps students in drawing reasonable conclusions by evidence by asking questions like, what do you already know? What do you think? So, thus, this phrase allows the students to make conceptual connections between the new and previous experiences, deepen their understanding of concepts and process, and interact with peers to check their understanding. The last one is the evaluation. This is the final step of model evaluation. is an ongoing diagnostic process which presents throughout the entire learning process. It gives chances to teachers to assess students' knowledge, understanding, and skills. So to fulfill this purpose, he or she asks many open-ended questions such as why do you think, what evidence do you have, what do you know about X, or how would you explain X? So in this whole process, students also assess their own progress as they compare their current knowledge with their previous understanding. So, in conclusion, constructivism is a theory about how people construct and acquire knowledge. So, this theory challenges the traditional approach that gives emphasis on memorization of the facts concepts. So, the constructivist theory can play a crucial role in the way the content of social studies is presented to the students. So it can change social studies drastically as it shows the complexity and multiple perspective of real-world situations and promotes active learning in the classroom by using various constructive teaching methods like discussing, brainstorming, storytelling, situation, analysis, observation, demonstration, role play, and etc. So, bringing changes of this nature in the classroom, the role of the teacher is very important. To teach social studies in interesting, active, and effective manner, teachers should be versed in theory and implications of constructivist approach. So, that's all my part. Thank you.
Video, we're going to report about project-based learning in social studies. First, let us define what is project-based learning. So, project-based learning is a learning method in which students seek to answer a question through research, synthesis, and presentation. In other words, project-based learning provides students with the opportunity to engage in meaningful real-world projects. The goal of each student's project is to answer an engaging question, solve a project, or complete a challenge. Ultimately, students demonstrate their acquired knowledge by creating a public presentation or product for a real audience. As the Bank Institute for Education explained with PBL students, investigate and respond to an authentic, engaging, and complex problem or challenge with deep and sustained attention, and the Bank Institution for Education developed a model for gold standard project-based learning or PBL is to help ensure project-based learning effectiveness. Effectively harness the magic that comes with project-based learning. Project-based learning works has 7 critical components that must be included. So there are 7 essential project design elements which are challenging problem or questions, sustained inquiry, authenticity, student and choice, reflection, critic and duration, and lastly, the public product. But we will discuss first about the challenging problem or questions. Means, a project-based learning or PBL project is always based on a meaningful problem to be solved, questions to be answered, or challenge to be addressed. I will design questions, problem, or challenge to give students room to elaborate and explore throughout the learning process. Additionally, a compelling project is more likely to increase motivation and engagement. By using track, students are given the opportunity to identify a relevant topic of interest and create a dynamic learning experience based on their chosen content. Second is sustained inquiry, meaning a students completing a PBL or project-based learning project engage in an extended and rigorous research process that includes inquiry, research, and application. A high-quality project requires students to think critically about the driving questions, problem, or challenge. Most project-based learning projects take longer than a few days to complete. Students need enough time to find quality resources, apply learning synthesis results, and develop a solution. Track provides the structure and support to keep students on track and engage throughout the research process. students follow a specific learning path that guides them through each step of the project. Third is authenticity. Means an authentic project involves real-world context, addresses 21st century skills, and speaks to relevant concerns and interests and issues in the students' lives. An authentic project-based learning also connects students to other people and communities, creating an unique learning experience. Completing a project with track transports the students beyond the boundaries of a traditional classroom. Students are empowered to explore new interests and deepen existing passions in a YouTube or TikTok format that kids love. And fourth is students' voice and choice. So project-based learning gives students the opportunity to make decisions about what they create and how to express their ideas. This inherent autonomy creates a strong sense of ownership in students, pushing them to work harder and care more about their chosen project. With track, students are the creators and they have a dedicated space to make decisions and share their learning. Fifth is reflection. A well-designed project includes structured time for reflection. Time set aside for reflection gives students a chance to make a necessary project adjustment and grow from the learning experience. Track uses a step-by-step process that provides students with the time and space for effective self-assessment and reflection. Next is critique and revision. Project-based learning encourages students to give, receive, and apply feedback to revise and improve their final product. The critique and revision process creates opportunities for collaboration that might not otherwise take place. The peer-to-peer interaction built into the track platform gives students the opportunity to receive constructive and quality feedback from their peers. This is done through likes, comments, and awards, which add a gaming element to the project-based learning experience. And lastly, but not the least, public product. The final step of the project is for the students to make their work public by sharing, explaining, or presenting it to an audience outside of the classroom. A public product encourages high-quality work and makes learning tangible. It also allows for increased communication with parents and the outside community. Students using track are able to create and share their projects right from track's secure platform, eliminating the need for alternative applications or websites. So, all 7 components are described a while ago. As you will see, some components are easier to implement than others, which can lead to reluctance for many teachers. This is exactly why the track is so helpful. Everything students need to be successful with the project-based learning is included and free. So there are types of project-based learning found in social studies: a debate, a speech, social media campaign, or multimedia presentation on a current event or controversial issues. So the more local and personally relevant to the students, the better. And next, a museum exhibit about a historical time, place, person, event, or development. And a simulation of a situation when people in the past or in the present day have to solve the problem, make a decision, or advise a leader. And side edge, a podcast, a guided tour, a field guide, or an annotated online map about the local history. And lastly but not the least, an action or service learning project to benefit the community. This time, we discuss about using project-based learning in social studies to boost student agency. When planning a social studies unit, we often assume the learning objectives will evolve around history and geography content. However, when we teach social studies, we are teaching students how they fit into the world through the lens of history. It is important that students see the connections between history and the occurrences of today, and how those connections impact their lives. Creating a new classroom environment where students feel free to ask questions and explore issues on their own allows students the choice and voice to take ownership of their learning. Project-based learning allows students to demonstrate their learning in ways that suit them best and let students see how they can impact the world. Projects that excite and engage students, cover the standards, and develop leadership skills can be created by educators in 3 systems, which are develop, create, and present. But first, we will discuss about develop. If project-based learning is new for you, start with the end in mind. Begin by thinking about what you want your students to know on the subject. If you are working to cover specific standards, start by looking at those standards to see how students can demonstrate understanding of those students in traditional ways. As future educators, if we start with the end in mind, we know how to get the results we desire. Those standards and endpoints can be used to develop rubrics. These rubrics will support students as they are creating their projects and will support teachers as they are scoring their work. And the second is create. After the end goal is determined, the teaching and learning can become centered. Through focused instruction, students can start researching and building their projects. Freedom to choose the direction of the project within the given parameters gives students the independence to grow their ideas into a project that is unique and meaningful. During the creation phase, it is important to have check-ins with students to see how their project is progressing, ask questions, and help generate new ideas. These check-ins can be with as well as the teachers to help students communicate their ideas and receive feedback and possible suggestions. And the third, present. When teachers provide opportunity for students to lead the learning within the classroom, students develop invaluable leadership skills. Find time to let your students present their project to the class. This presentation can be a challenge for some students early in the school year. So break the class into smaller groups. So students have practiced presenting in a more approachable setting before presenting to the entire class. Through this presentation, students will be able to recognize the varying perspective of their peers and learn about one another. Why project-based learning is important? So, because it allows a child to demonstrate his or her capabilities while working independently. It shows the child's ability to apply desired skills, such as doing research. It develops the child's ability to work with his or her peers, building teamwork and group skills. Project-based learning arms students with the tools and resources they need to be successful, both academically and in the real world, by teaching them how to solve complex problems, work collaboratively, think critically, and communicate effectively. That's all my part, and thank you.